What's going on, guys? Today's video we're gonna be working on the Dodge Viper. So in the previous video we removed the broken quarter panels. I'm almost willing to call them fenders since they unbolt, but we removed both of them. If you guys did or didn't see, we had some damage to it. So this one had previously been repaired and then it essentially just shattered it when the wheel got into the fender. And then on this one has one crack here that we're going to repair. So we're going to be replacing this quarter with the one that we have on the vehicle right now. I just have it hanging here. I want to try and get the fitment a little bit better. As you guys know, these are fiberglass panels. So I thought it would just simply bolt up, or you could just fasten it and it should be the same, but I'm kind of seeing that there's a little bit of fitment that I want to try to dial in. So in order to do that, on the inner tub, once I sit the fender on top, I can't see what's going on as far as the contact pads that hold the fender up. So what I want to do is remove this back panel here so that I can actually visually see into here, see how it's resting on those contact pads, and then I can try to alter a little bit. I mean, it's nothing too significant. I would say maybe like 1/8 of an inch or so that I want to try to get it down. So it's definitely something that we can dial in. But in order to do that, I'm going to remove this. And then I also kind of want to fix up the exhaust vent, or cabin vent that's on this side. I want to kind of get it dialed in because it's kind of sitting a little bit funny, so I want to repair that while we have everything off. So let's take this panel off and get straight to work. Okay, so part of the cool thing is, unless you're taking the taillights off, you can actually remove this whole back panel. It's only held on by a few bolts here. So other than these two screws on the inside, and then there's like 3 bolts, plus you have to remove the lock, and then disconnect your third brake light, your license plate lights, and then this whole thing comes out with the tail lights on it. So there is this rubber trim that we'll have to tuck back in. It kind of just pops off as you're pulling it underneath like the deck lid, but I can put that back on when we go to tuck it in. But other than disconnecting our tail lights, which you can actually, there's one big connector in here which we can disconnect and just let the whole thing go with it. So we can actually pop this grommet out and just send the whole connector with it, and then we don't have to disconnect each individual one. So let me do that. Okay, so there is our taillight harness. I disconnected on both sides, passed it through, so now we can just remove this whole panel. All right, and the whole back panel is removed, so we kind of have access in here so we can kind of see what is going on. So it definitely looks like there's been some repair to this. I don't know, it is what it is at this point. So at some point I do want to kind of redo a lot of this stuff and try to do it properly, but I don't know if that time's now. I just want to get it cosmetically back into shape, and then at some point when I have a lot more time, I'll probably go back in here and try to repair this more professionally than what we're left with. But like I said, at least it's functional for now, and I'll deal with it later, I suppose. Okay, so like I was mentioning, my goal was to be able to see down here, but I mean, back here it is, you can see the body or the fender is tight with the inner tub, so not much I can see from here. And like I said, the back portion of it here fits okay. It's just up there, which I don't have visibility to. So let me mess with this for a bit and see what I come up with. All right, so here's the vents that I want to fix and try to get straightened up. A long time ago when I first purchased this car, these things were literally just like hanging here, and you would drive down the road and you would literally be nauseous because it was just, whatever vortex goes on in the back of this vehicle, you would literally just be ingesting fumes the entire time. So let me drill out these rivets. I want to straighten out this bracket, see what's going on behind here, and see if we can't fix this hack job that's going on here. All right, so I'm just gonna remove the rear bumper, get it out of our way. And part of the interesting part about the bumper is there's a bunch of screws on the bottom, like pretty obvious ones. These like 7/16 or 11 mil head bolts. But then the bumper cover doesn't come off. But what you have to actually do is, you guys can see in here, hopefully I can illustrate this. Right there on both sides, there's those 2 bolts with nuts that hold the actual like rebar to the frame. You have to loosen those off because the rebar stays attached to the bumper cover in order for it to come off. So now it should come off. Okay, so in a weird way, this thing actually looks really cool without the whole rear bumper assembly on it and whatnot. But now I can kind of get down to the nitty gritty on what the repair work was. I want to clean up all this junk, smooth it out, and make it, you know, somewhat proper, because I don't really think this was done well. I think you guys can already see, like, it wasn't done very nicely whatsoever. So I want to clean this up, try to get it you know, a little bit more professional done. Not that I'm a professional, but I think I can do a much better job at making this look how it's supposed to rather than the way this is. But I still don't have any indication on why this is the way it is. Only thing, if I were to guess, is maybe like with this one piece being a little bit higher, like, because I can pull this down to make this flush, but I don't think this is the part that's holding it up. Like over there all looks flat, so I think it's just going to be an adjustment more than an actual issue, because this tub, like everything from here forward is, you know, was fine, and it's attached to the inner tub, and that's all solid. So I think it's just an adjustment more than an issue with this back corner. Because like I said, the back corner fits good, it's just up here. So anyways, let me play around with this, clean some of this junk and mess up, and I'll show you guys what I come up with. All right, boys, so I've just been chipping away just bits and chunks of this poor repair job. So you can see just like globs of like seam sealer and all sorts of stuff. So I've just been trying to get back down to our original structure here so we can really see what's going on. So it doesn't look too bad, but I just want to clean things up. Like everything looks like it's more or less aligned. I'm gonna have to fix this a little bit. This is a little bit off, and then this piece at the top here, so I'll fix that, but that's not a big deal. It's not like it's really changing our structure here. This here, this is the, I don't know what you would call this, I guess the cage for these vents. And you can see here it's a little bit like bent. Professional. So we're pulling this back. So I'm trying to get this all squared up. There's a little crack here. This corner's pretty soft, and this one. So we're gonna resin this, resin that, and then once these two cure, then I'm gonna push this down, because I kind of have a bit of dual action going on here. This one, I can't pull this down without this line kind of messing up, so I want to get this one bonded first, and then we'll push everything down and get this one all bonded up nice. Okay, so slight change in plans. I actually, me and Aaron managed to get some tape on here. This tape's pulling this down, and that's pulling it up, so that completely matches, this matches. So we're gonna get some resin in here on both sides. I don't think we're gonna do anything with glass on the top, but I'll probably put some glass in the back to reinforce it afterwards. So, but for now, and then right here as well, we're gonna get some resin in here on both sides, and I'll show you guys what we end up with. Oh, look at that. Man, using a brush makes this so much nicer. I've always just been like struggling, like trying to like freaking use like popsicle sticks and put that on. Okay, so she's drying up real nice, boys. So we'll probably put another coat on this as well, just to fill in, you know, some of this inconsistency, but everything is drying well. So while that cures, I do still have to bond this. So this was another thing that was just kind of hanging out here. You can see it has like this panel bond stuff or whatever. So that has to get glued back into place. And then me and Aaron are about to prep this panel. So this is the one with the split in it. So what we're gonna do is use some 80 grit, just kind of, you know, break free any of the stuff that's just hanging loose there, you know, all this stuff. And then we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna put resin all through here, you know, get it in between. Then we're gonna close the gap, and then we're gonna lay some glass up in here. So you can see it cracked here and a little bit of crack here. So we're gonna clean this all up, lay some glass in there, and then we'll see how strong she is. All right, so we got this all sanded up, ready to go, scuffed up the inside as well. So you're gonna see I have like a larger piece here, and then I have two smaller ones. So we're gonna use these two right here. We're gonna lay these up in here like this. So I'm gonna get those two there. That way where our actual crack is, it's gonna add the most reinforcement here. And then once those cure up, then we're gonna get the third one going on here and get this all laid in. So should be super strong. Let's get to mixing. Okay, so we're just testing out our tape idea. That's gonna hold the crack nice and closed. So let's go mix up the resin. We're gonna get the resin all in here, use our tape to hold it shut, and we'll get our first 2 pieces of glass laid out. Okay, so this has come out really good, you guys. It's pretty much hardened up, but we're gonna leave it, and then we're gonna put a little bit more resin on this side when we actually do this, because Aaron had the great idea to fix the original broken one because this one fits the best on this side. So I figured, I'd never planned on throwing it in the garbage. I figured at some point I would end up fixing it or repairing it, but we figured since we already have all the material out, we might as well repair it right now. So we got the cloth out, already did the sanding. We're gonna go ahead and all the old stuff, like I tried to grind out as much of the old repair or patch as I could. So I took that out, and then I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna lay some glass in here. Also cleaned up back here, this old repair job here, and we're gonna, you know, try to put a little bit of glass over this and try to fix this crappy repair job here. And there's one little spot here that's a little bit weak, so we're just gonna strengthen it up, but should be stronger than ever once we're done. So let's get to the cutting, get to the resin, and see what we end up with. Okay boys, so I ended up straightening this. These little tiny rods, a couple of them were broken off, so I welded them. They were just tack welded originally, and they had been you know, broken off at some point. So I did that, just gave this a little coat of black, nothing special. From the factory, it is covered in silicone anyways, so you never see it, but I just wanted to kind of clean it up. And then over here, fenders are coming out beautifully, you guys. So this stuff is super hard right now. It is solid too. So what I do want to do is in the morning, it's already super late here, but in the morning I'm going to put one more patch on the outside here. So I'm going to lay a little bit of glass on the outside, but this is solid as heck, boys. So this came out really nice too. We ended up putting like a patch through here over this you know, previous bodywork on the corner here. So this is solid now too. All this through here is super reinforced, so I'm going to end up trimming all those out. This one's all ready to go as well. Again, patchwork is awesome, so I think we're gonna, at this point, I think we're gonna reuse that as long as the bodywork comes out good. I think we'll put that one back on. And then, if you guys know me and know this channel, I like to do things, you know, as clean as possible. So when I bought the car, I did know that there was some bodywork on this side, but I didn't know like what was hiding underneath the fancy paint, or the shiny paint, I should say. So super happy with how this came out so far. This thing is solid, boys. So this was super flimsy. This was cracked. That cage that we just painted over there, that thing didn't fit in here whatsoever. And those vents right here were like all popping out. But now I'm happy to say that this thing is all solid. It's nice. It's all squared off properly. And I already test fitted the grills and the vents, and everything fits beautifully like factory again. So in the morning, once that dries off, I'm gonna end up putting it in here and siliconing it. Again, the factory had silicone around here. And then again, like I was mentioning, kind of cleaning things up. There was a ton of like red overspray all through here. So I actually just spent some time kind of just sanding it down and getting it off, because it was kind of driving me a little bit crazy. Because over here, don't mind that it's a little bit darker because it's, you know, seen the elements, but it's just raw and exposed. So I just sanded the overspray back off. There's a little bit of red still in the corners, but I just got rid of that just so, I don't know, like I said, a little bit OCD, but I just want to clean that up and make it look decent. Up here, we're going to do a little bit of touch up underneath here. You don't see up here, but I just want to kind of clean this up as well. Again, make this a little bit smoother and make it match, you know, this side. So same sort of deal. Like I said, just sand this and smooth it, and then we'll get some nice paint up here underneath that ridge, and that's about it. So everything's coming along good. Just getting into things a little bit deeper than we expected. I still have to glue this. I'll do that on the next episode. And what I'm also thinking now, as I was talking to Aaron, you guys comment down below what you think. I'm thinking that I might put riv certs or nut certs. I know they're kind of two different names, but I'm thinking of putting those in. I want to put them, you know, in here in all the fender liner parts. Everywhere that we drilled out a rivet, I'm thinking of putting the riv cert. So right here, I could easily put them in here. So I put 4 in here, and then I'll put like a nice, you know, machine screw in each one. That way, if I ever want to work on this thing again, it's just way more serviceable, and it doesn't have those rivets, you know, just sitting there, just getting chewed on everything. Because part of the problem is you put the rivets in, and these cars do like to shift a lot. So you put the rivet in, and then it might not be, you know, super tight later down the road, and then all of a sudden you got this rivet head dancing around on your freshly painted panel. So I'm contemplating, instead of using rivets, putting the riv certs, so that technically this could be serviceable. Because one thing is, if you guys own these cars, if you do smell exhaust in the cab, 99.9% chance is these vents are messed up, and there's no way to remove them without doing what we just did here, because they're removed from the outside. So you have to take the quarter panel off just to get to those vents. So if you ever have an issue like this, or you smell exhaust fumes in your Viper, this is a very known problem. And again, to get the quarter panel or fender off, you have to drill out rivets and remove it the way you just saw. So I'm thinking of making this a serviceable thing, just in case I ever have to get to this at all or double check it. I can get to it without having to drill out a bunch of rivets and possibly, you know, having the drill bit walk on me and dance across a nice freshly painted panel. But anyways, that's gonna wrap it up for this video, you guys. So thanks again for Aaron for giving me a hand on this stuff, and we'll be painting. Hopefully in the next episode, we'll be doing a little bit of body work and paint, and then I'll be able to put this thing back together finally. So it's definitely turning into a little bit bigger project than I anticipated. The cut brackets for our axle should be showing up tomorrow, so we'll be working on that too. So lots of stuff on the go, you guys. So give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this. Subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll catch you guys on the next video.